Hey everyone, Aaron here, and welcome back to another Anime Talk, the show where we have to sometimes get a little raunchy to talk about the controversial topics. That sounded so creepy. I don't know, like, there's no way of saying that without sounding creepy. I tried multiple takes of that to say it. We're gonna keep it. Alright, so today on the Anime Talk, we're gonna be talking about fan service in anime, and why it's both a blessing, a curse, and a little bit of both. Now, if you're new to anime, which I presume that most of you people are not on my channel. That's a little odd if you are, because I mean, why are you again watching anime discussions and all that? The whole kind of concept of fan service has been around since essentially the beginning of anime. Like, I mean, even if you went to Gigantor, you went to stuff like Voltron Speed Racer, it's been there. It's just not as relevant as it was back then. Now it's more relevant now. Back then it was more kind of tame. It was the cute girl here and there, the kind of intermingling concepts, but it was more so in a different age. As time progressed, of course, though, fan service went more so toward the creepy stuff that you see in anime, especially harems. I mean, harems are usually, that's why I'm using Vandra as a picture for this. They have the typical stuff. They have the open shirts that are very revealing of certain parts of women's bodies. You have the low cut skirts. You got the occasional upskirt shots, which always creep me out. I don't know why anime loves doing that so much. Never have. You have what essentially is meant to make people, especially guys, crazy. They want this. They enjoy it, and there's multiple reasons for that. You know, I think one of the biggest predominant reasons, and we're not going to go too into this information wise, because as many of you know, Japan, the whole the country in Japan is very mixed and very diverse when it comes to a lot of things. One thing is that they have a very low rate of marriages nowadays, especially since I think the early 2000s it started going declining, and there's very reasons for that. There's no per se one reason. It's just more so that one of the predominant reasons is because people work very hard over there, and because of that they really have no time to intermingle with women or vice versa. And so anime kind of remedies that in a lot of ways, because what it does is it brings that kind of foreplay into it that they don't get outside of the real realm. A lot of the guys that watch anime in Japan want the fan service. They want that or need it because they just really can't interact with that elsewhere, or they have issues with that. Now, besides the kind of what you may say about it, because I mean we all have very diverse opinions on this. I've talked about this before. I'm not going to mention in this video per se, but it's how it is. If you don't like fan service, you know what to expect. You really will never like an anime because of it, and you'll always say that's a degrading factor of it. And I agree with you to a lot of points. Like High School of the Dead is a great anime, but it also has a lot of degrading points because it has a lot of unnecessary fan service in it. And I love that anime, but I hate the kind of unnecessary stuff they do with women in general. That I always kind of hold it against it, because I know people go, well, isn't that one of your favorite animes? No, it's not one of my favorites per se, but I do love the anime. It's just that it degrades women. It really does. It portrays them in a bad light, and it always has annoyed me in that, because I'm one of those people that I don't like that. Now in harems, I forgive it a little bit more because it's not meant to be taken so seriously. I think all the time, it's meant to be again for more of a kind of relaxation purpose. And I'm not saying what type of relaxation. We're not going into that, but that's how it is. That's the reason why fan service exists in animation or anime in general. Now, outside of the Eastern culture we have in the West culture, fan service is also for the same reason. You have young guys, young teenagers, mid teenagers, even some adults who desire that. They want the kind of harem aspect because they maybe wanted that kind of personified ability to have multiple girls be with them at one time, and they've never gotten that, of course, because most guys do not have that skill. I am included. I do not have the ability to get multiple girls in one shot. Nor would I, in guys, because I've always been the kind of one girl type guy. I don't want the multiple girls. I've never, I know people always say, "Oh, you're BSing." I really never. I'm very old school when it comes to that, so I never thought of a harem in my head. I don't want that. I've never desired that personally. I mean, I always wish I was more popular with girls in general, but I've never gone, "Oh, I wish I had like 50 girls flaunting on me." I've never wanted that. That's just me personally, though. I know most guys are like, "Oh yeah, whatever," rolling eyes, and you can believe me or not, I don't give a shit. Oh, I cursed today. I've cursed a few times in these videos though. I'm not really. I'm trying to watch out for that, but I still do it once in a while without realizing it. Well, it happens though. But fan service in another spectrum also kind of provides comedy, and that's why it's kind of necessary in a lot of harems. Imagine your favorite harem. Let's see. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a really good harem to do this with. Shuffle did fan service very well. It didn't have a lot of fan service all the time, but when it did have it, it was meant to be kind of hilarious. Like for example, there was an episode where the main character ran into another girl who just got out of the sports, I think the sports room, and he ended up taking her bag by accident because they had similar bags, and lo and behold, all their clothes were in that bag. And it was meant to be kind of goofy. It was meant to be kind of fan service. Oh, she's not wearing this under there, and ooh. But it was not. It was not handled in a creepy way. It was handled in a way that was kind of just funny and meant to be joking. Is that stuff that really happens in real life? No. That I've never seen that happen in real life. I don't think it ever happens to anyone. If it does happen to you, that is the strangest thing that ever happened to you. I feel for you if you're a girl that happened to you, but it doesn't happen. It's a rare occurrence that is once in a blue moon that, maybe once in a lifetime you'll ever see something that crazy ever happening. But fan service is meant to be comedy. It's meant to be taken in that sense that it's like, this is so ridiculous. The guy who bumps into the girl and then ends up with her hands in his hands in the wrong place on that girl. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry. She slaps him across the face. You laugh. You generally laugh. You might think that, oh, that's, you laugh. I don't care who you are. Even if you hate fan service, you think that's kind of funny. You're going to go, ah, that's funny. Or you get a little pissed off, but you're still going to smile a little bit. It's going to make you smile. It's going to make you, laugh a little bit. Fan service is meant to play into this role of, guys getting a little bit of action that they don't see in real life. I know that sounds kind of weird, and it is kind of weird to say that, but it is the truth. It's the concept of it. Guys don't always have, the hot girlfriends, or they don't have the girls that they want to get, or they don't have girlfriends at all. And anime kind of remedies that with having, the main character be this kind of nobody, all of a sudden having 3 or 4 girls chasing after him who are beautiful and gorgeous compared to, anyone else in the anime. And he's the nobody guy. He's the guy that looks very typical, that, hey, guys want that. Most guys want that. I know plenty of guys that told me in the past that they wanted that. And only people that get that are players. Like, I know my one friend I've talked about before. He's a player. He does that stuff all the time. And I'm like, wow, man, it's going to blow up in his face. Watch. One day he's going to be like, oh, shit, that's going to be... And I'm like, well, I told you so, man, But that's how people are. But, in all seriousness, though, going back to the subject of fan service in general, fan service is unneeded in a lot of ways. A lot of anime doesn't need it. There's a lot of times where you see in shows like, I try to think. I can't. It's funny. I really should have had some of these anime in my head before I did this. But there was an anime I'm thinking of recently that it was a very serious anime, and then all of a sudden had a upskirt shot, and I'm like, why? It was so out of the blue. It was like, was that necessary? That what was great about Your Lie in April, for example, we're going on to that really fast, even though that's not really a harem or kind of fan service heavy, is that one of the scenes in the beginning of the show is that the main character, takes a shot with his phone of a girl, but at the wrong awkward moment where the sky has all this wind and the wind makes her skirt go up, and he takes a picture of it. You never see anything though. That's the beauty of it. You're only left to your imagination. You never see a single thing, which I think is the perfect way to do fan service. You could do that and make it a joke and make it funny. You don't have to show the seriousness. But I again understand that the spectrum of it is that anime in Japan has to have that. It has to have that kind of, raunchy stuff in it because that's just their culture. They want that in there, regardless of if you have issue with it or not. It's just something that you have to deal with. So I understand, kind of like to keep this short, a kind of a short topic today in general. Fan service is, I think, hard to understand for most people. It's something that people hate in anime. They hate it in the harems. They hate it in the love stories. But understand that the spectrum is not meant to be always for the Western culture in per se. I mean, it goes for the Western culture because young teenagers watch anime, and young guys in general, and it kind of gets their libidos up and gets their mojo flowing. These are all words that sound very awkward to say, but they want that. They want that that kind of erotic fantasy service that most people do not see in real life all the time, and it's meant to do that. Likewise, I think there are ways of doing an anime that could be a lot easier and a lot less fresh and a lot less, I think, degrading toward women. I think you could do it in ways where, have it like in Your Lie in April where you don't see anything, but you could just left your own image. That he took a shot and he took a picture and ended up being what he should not have been taking a picture of. That. Everyone knows that, but you don't see it. And that's that still makes you laugh. It still puts that hilarious moment in there, but without putting the raunchy fan service that you do not need in it, if that makes any sense. But overall, fan service is what it is. It's not going to go away, guys and girls. I know a lot of people hate it. I know a lot of the girls on my channel hate fan service and they hate anime with it. I have bad news for you, ladies. it's not going away. You know, as long as anime is predominantly still ruling for male audiences, just like video games in general, you know, there are a lot of girls that play games and a lot of girls that watch anime. I mean, I've met so many since I've started my YouTube channel. It's amazing that there's such a huge group of women that watch this. But the thing is, I mean, I'm never surprised. I think there's a lot of groups in general that you'd be surprised. Like, for example, romance anime is geared more toward the female gender, but guys watch it. I mean, I'm one of the few guys that watch romance anime, and I love romance anime and in general. I almost said anime twice, by the way. But I saved it. But yeah, it's not going anywhere. That's the unfortunate truth. It's still a male populated concept that you need that in anime. The majority is guys that watch anime and the guys that play video games. So you need that fan service for them because that's what they're trying to go on and trying to sell at. It sells the statues. It sells the body pillows. It sells the stuff that you know you may or may not want to own. And I'm not gonna say, oh, that's well, how could you own that? I'm not gonna say anything wrong with this. Listen, it's okay. Right? You know, if you own one of those things, not a big deal. But at the same time, you know, that's why it's made. That's what it does. It generates that fan service. It generates the merchandising. You know, it makes extra money for anime. So next time, you know what? If anything, ladies who hate fan service in anime and hate fan service in harems, if anything, just think of it this way: it makes money for the anime. So, you know, you hope one day that eventually you won't need that all the time in anime. Until then, though, it does generate a lot of money because it generates a lot of merchandise. It generates a lot of revenue back into the anime world. So think of the positives on it, you know? Anyways, guys, that's it for today's anime talk. I hope you guys enjoyed the fan service episode. I actually have no idea what I'm doing next week, so I'm not going to preview it. But I was thinking of doing that every once in a while, but I'm not going to do that because equally, if I change my mind on what video I want to go up next, that wouldn't be fair to you guys because then all of a sudden something else comes up that you didn't expect, and I'll feel bad. Anyways, guys and girls, have a great week, great weekend, great day, whatever. Because like always, I never know if this is coming out Monday or Friday per se. And we'll talk again later. Bye-bye.